Hi, my name is Kristen Davin, and I am the co-author of an upcoming article in Foreign Language Annals that I wrote with my colleague Dr. Amy Heineke from Loyola University Chicago. And the article was called The Seal of Biliteracy, Variations in Policy and Outcomes. About a year ago, I was mesmerized by a presentation at the Illinois Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages conference on the Seal of Biliteracy. Linda Ignatz, a former ACTFL Teacher of the Year, was in the audience and described the influence that this award had had on students in her district. I knew that the Seal of Biliteracy was a seal placed on a student's transcript or diploma at graduation from high school, signifying proficiency in reading, writing, listening, and speaking in English and another world language, but I hadn't deeply considered the far-reaching impact that such an award might have. Beyond serving as a recognizable symbol for employers and universities, Senora Ignatz spoke about the potential of the award to improve retention in world language programs and to promote proficiency-based teaching and assessment. My co-author, Amy Heineke, had similarly become interested in the Seal of Biliteracy. Through her professional development workshops in the Chicagoland area, she recognized the potential that the Seal of Biliteracy had to make the general public more aware of the benefits of second language learning and thus to promote educational policies that emphasize multilingualism over monolingualism. As we began to search for more information on the Seal of Biliteracy, we found that little research outside of a couple wonderful dissertations focused on the seal in California had been conducted. While we had formed a research team with Linda Ignatz to study the implementation of the Seal of Biliteracy in schools, we realized that we needed to take a step back to investigate the variations in the policy across the United States. Because the Seal of Biliteracy is not mandated at the federal level, states have the option of deciding whether they want to participate or not. At the time that this article was written, there were 25 participating states in the District of Columbia, although you can see on this map that a few more states have since joined. Different states have differing English proficiency requirements, other world language proficiency requirements, and even levels or tiers of the seal. Methods through which students are permitted to demonstrate proficiency also vary by state. The purpose of this study was to investigate the variation in policy across states, the types of schools and number of students earning the award in each state, and the challenges encountered as states put policy into practice. Dr. Heineke and I conducted interviews with representatives from 20 states in the District of Columbia to understand state-level efforts to initiate, pass, design, and implement the Seal of Biliteracy, as well as statistics about the number of students who earned the seal in the 2015-2016 school year. We found that wide variation existed across participating states. While most states offered only one level of the award, 3 states offered a two-tiered system: Illinois, Kansas, and Wisconsin. Minnesota actually had 4 awards, recognizing students proficient in more than 2 languages as well, at 2 different levels for each. For example, in Illinois, students who demonstrate world language proficiency at an intermediate high level in the 4 domains are eligible for the Gold Seal of Biliteracy. However, less proficient students who score at the minimum level of intermediate low are eligible for a Silver Commendation. Thus, a student who scored intermediate high in reading, writing, and listening, for example, but at the intermediate mid or intermediate low level in speaking, could still earn a Silver Commendation. In addition, the minimum proficiency level that was required to obtain the Seal of Biliteracy also varied across states, from a minimum proficiency level of intermediate low in North Carolina to advanced low in states such as Louisiana, Oregon, and the District of Columbia. Most other states fell in between these 2 levels, with the majority requiring a minimum level of intermediate high or intermediate mid, the level recommended by ACTFL. Some states recognized students who reached proficiency levels above advanced low, although those were states that had tiered systems of the award. Analyses revealed that world language ability was most commonly verified using specified scores on recognized language assessments, such as the Advanced Placement Exam, the International Baccalaureate Exam, the ACTFL Assessment of Performance Towards Proficiency in Language Exam, and the Avant Stamp 4S. In fact, scores on recognized assessments were the only permissible method for demonstrating proficiency in 9 of the participating states. However, some states accepted seat time, or a minimum GPA in a 4-year course of study in the same world language, as proof of proficiency. Others offered alternatives to the use of either recognized language assessments or seat time for proving world language proficiency, so that students who were proficient in less commonly taught languages could still have the opportunity to earn the Seal of Biliteracy. Still, others had unique requirements, such as a point system in New York, or required proof of cultural competency through community service or service learning in the District of Columbia. All states that adopted the Seal of Biliteracy required students to also demonstrate proficiency in English by high school graduation, but these requirements also varied. 19 states in the District of Columbia required students to pass end-of-course exams, or the ACT. 4 states required completion of all English language arts requirements for graduation with a minimum GPA. 6 states required additional evidence from English learners, such as a particular score on the WIDA access test. For more details on which states fell into which of these categories, please check out our article in the upcoming issue. While in most states, the state's Board of Education determined the requirements that students needed to meet in order to receive the Seal of Biliteracy, in most cases, the state board could not require that all schools award the seal. In 24 states and the District of Columbia, participation in the Seal of Biliteracy program was optional, with Hawaii constituting the sole exception. In most states, the seal was only available to public school students, although there were some exceptions, which you can read about in the article. Data on the number of seal earners during the 2015-2016 school year were only available from 9 states in the District of Columbia, most likely because of the recent adoption of the seal in many states. You can see on this slide the percentage of eligible students who earned the seal. The term eligible was used to refer to the number of students who graduated from public schools in the state, rather than the number of graduates attending schools that chose to offer the Seal of Biliteracy, because those data were not available. The states are listed in descending order, beginning with the state with the highest percentage of learners. California, where the Seal of Biliteracy originated and has been in place since 2011, awarded the highest percentage of seals at around 10%. Virginia awarded the second highest percentage of seals, despite implementing the Seal of Biliteracy as late as March of 2015. In the other 6 states and the District of Columbia, fewer than 4% of graduates earned a Seal of Biliteracy at the end of the 2015-2016 school year. To be sure, one of the most significant reasons that states had such a small percentage of students earning the Seal of Biliteracy was because of the infancy of the policy in most states. However, representatives from different states did mention 2 other variables, including the cost of world language assessments, as well as the availability of such assessments. Students who were already planning on taking the AP or IB exams, did not have as many struggles or might not have had the same concerns of those students who weren't in those classes anyway and had to pay additionally out of pocket to take those exams. Furthermore, participants from 3 different states, Hawaii, Illinois, and Minnesota, and the District of Columbia, mentioned the lack of assessments in less commonly taught but commonly used languages in their states, such as Hmong, Somali, and Karienic languages, as well as Filipino and Micronesian languages. This article offers implications for those in the process of policy adoption or revision, and those who are interested in researching efforts to increase equity and access to the Seal of Biliteracy. We hope you'll take a look.